Hello, everybody. It is 6 o'clock on the nose. It's Wednesday, and that means Ask Dave Fennoy anything about voiceover. I mean, if you want to ask that question that, always comes up, somebody's smiling. Boxers or briefs? Briefs. I'm a brief kind of guy. Anyway, welcome to Facebook Live. Oh, there we go. Hey, Postman, what's going on? All right, Angie Lou, what's happening? Doing a little call out here. I've got a couple things I want to start with. A little yin and the yang, the plus and the minus, the good, the bad, and I'm going to start with something that came across my desk today that just had me very annoyed. And I'm seeing more and more of this. One of my agents sent me an audition. It's an internal global thing from a bank, a financial institution, which is fine. And when I read the copy, I liked the copy. It was well written and all that. It was about 22 lines, which is very long. If you're looking at a 30, it's about typically 7 to 8 lines. If you're really moving, 60 is about 15 lines. And this one was 20-something lines, but they wanted to sell it as a 30. And they gave you samples of the kinds of reads they wanted, which were very languid, with lots of room. Someone being very thoughtful, taking their time. There's no way they're going to get that read out of this copy that's 20-something lines. It's more like 2 minutes. 2.5 minutes if you're reading it in the style that they want. And that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was how much money they're willing to pay you. They asked for an in perpetuity. First of all, $400 for a session, not too bad. Usage, $500 for 6 months. $1,000 for a year. Now we're beginning to wonder. And then $2,500 in perpetuity. They're robbing us, people. They're trying to rob us. And once again, there is no way you could read that copy, give it the feel that they want in 30 seconds. So the question a lot of people have, well, gee, do I do it the way they want and just make it 2.5 minutes? And they go, well, wait a minute, we wanted 30 seconds. How come it's 2.5 minutes? Or do I try to rush it into 30 seconds, maybe end up with, 40, 45 and having to go, gee, this guy, why is he rushing? Like he sounds like an announcer. Oh, it was male or female. Like that part. Love the part where they don't care who you are, male, female, all races welcome. But it just makes no sense. What advertising agency came up with this and thought this was 30 seconds? It's going to drive people crazy. And I know some of you have gotten this because I'm sure it's out there quite a bit and it leaves you scratching your head. Anyway, get your questions ready. I'm happy to say hello, but I want some questions too. Hey, Julie O'Malley, what's going on? Melinda, hey, folks, join us. And the other thing, which puts a smile on my face, I've been doing this a long time. And I remember the first time I booked a voiceover. Ooh, it was life-affirming. It felt so good. And then to hear yourself, in places after you got used to your voice, because we all do that thing, well, that's me? Ooh, I didn't think I sounded like that. But it feels good. And there's some things you like more than others. Some things that you book them and they just mean more to you. Well, one of those things happened to me. Now, I work a lot. I work every day. Not every job has the same enjoyment for me as every other job. And I know you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you get that thing that just, oh, man, I love it. Well, I got one of those. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I will tell you that it is a game. It's a game that is a very, very popular game, a game I've wanted to be on for a long time. And one of those in the back of your head in your private moment, oh, man, how come I didn't book that? I should be on that game. Gee whiz, come on, man. And, well, Audition came through, and I booked it. Yay! The crowd goes wild. I'm saying that to say, I hope you have the same kind of joy in this work that I have, and that you still, if you've been doing this for a while, that there are things that can just lift your spirits. Sometimes work can be a little mundane. You're doing a project that maybe you're not that into. You're just being the professional offering your services, and then there are those things that you just feel connected to. And I hope you still have those, because that's what makes it all worthwhile. Because just between me and you, this is stuff we would do for free, isn't it? If money was no object, we just had all the money in the world, we do voiceover work for no money. Don't tell the people who hire that. All right, let's see if we have any questions. Well, I'm getting lots of hellos, but no questions. Come on, where are the questions? Let's see. Stephen Clark, how you doing, man? Had a nice lunch with you the other day. Jeffrey, Janessa, Ian, don't tell them that one. Must be about the money. Come on, somebody. Oh, here we go. You've done some voices for a couple of Japanese anime titles. How difficult is the ADR process, and how does it affect your delivery? Good question. Let's talk about anime a little bit. I have done a fair amount of anime. It has not been my main thing, but I'm on a number of fairly well-known anime projects. Anime is a little different animal than either animation or video games. It's a very technical job. There's art in there as well, but it's very technical because what you're doing with anime, you have a Japanese project, a Japanese cartoon of some kind or Japanese game of some kind, and it's been translated into English with great difficulty because English and Japanese are very different languages. It takes a longer time to say something in Japanese than it does to say in English. Same thing with Spanish. A lot of people who just want to translate Spanish and then do it find that 30-second spot is now running 40 seconds because there's a lot more words you have to get in Spanish. Similar thing with Japanese. Well, what you have to do as an artist in anime is you have to match the lip flap and time of the Japanese voice actor that did the job before you. Well, it means that the writer has to write, the translator has to write the English in such a way that it helps you have lip flap that matches, which sometimes means the syntax is kind of crazy. And you're trying to get the same feel, the same spirit, match the lip flap, and do it in the same time. So there's a lot more technical aspects than just doing video games or animation, because you have to have that clock in your head. You have to match that lip flap as well as tone. So when you're doing that and you can do it well, and there's some people who do it very, very well, you're doing a good job. And anime is very, very popular. Tends not to pay as much as cartoons or video games. Somehow it kind of lives underneath the union radar. But a lot of the anime actors make up for that in the number of conventions they go to because the anime fans are just rabid. They love it. And if you're on anime games, they love that too. All right, Craig Ferguson. Hey, Dave, just arrived back in Melbourne from Indonesia. There you go, mate. Yeah, throw a shrimp on the barbie for me. Whatever. Hi, there's Steve Bailey here working on more promo demos for you. All right. Steve, one of my joys working with students sometimes, and that you just have a marvelous, marvelous voice, and getting them to stop listening to their voice and just talk to you. And Steve Bailey is one of those guys, just amazing voice. You get that under control, Steve, and you're into something. Is there truth to it is very hard to get in, but once you're in the voiceover world, you're in. I'm going to say, yeah, it can be difficult to get in. People are knocking on the doors. I didn't realize how lucky I was when my voiceover career started. I started in Northern California. I was a DJ, and with all that brings, got an agent up there and was booking some things. I had some decent clients. But when I decided to move to Los Angeles to pursue my career, I was invited. An agent had come up to teach a workshop, told me, "Oh, you're really talented. If you ever decide to move to Los Angeles, we'd love to represent you." Ha! I had no idea what a gift it was at the time, because I was a morning jack on 107.7 KSOL. And I figured I'd do it one day. Well, 3 months later, the station fired everybody. I had to find that lady's card. I know it's here someplace. And she said, redo your demo, come on down. Took me about 3 months to do that. And I was commuting back and forth at the time, and then staying with a buddy's apartment and an uncle's apartment, or sleeping in a couch at an uncle's house, and then rented a place with another guy, still going back and forth. And I tell you that because you got to do something perhaps you're not really willing to do to make the things happen that you really want to have happen. But the thing that I did have that was easy, I had been signed by one of the top agents in L.A. And at the time, I didn't realize what a gift that was until later on, working with people, meeting people who wanted to do voiceover, people who were really talented and were having a hard time finding an agent. And it's only more so now. More people are knocking on the voiceover doors than ever before. Fortunately, there's more work than ever before. Gabriel Kunda, you're going to hear him. You're going to hear him, another really talented person. Hey, Maisha, got cousin there. This is finding your place in voiceover can be very frustrating. It's a big picture when you're starting out, and you just have to take it a bite at a time, a little bit at a time. Fortunately, now there's more work than ever before, and I've mentioned this before. There's still the work that I call the high-profile work, the stuff you're going to see on television, here on the radio, the video games, the cartoons, TV promos, commercials. But there's a whole lot of work in corporate NAIR and e-learning and places like that you can make just as much money as somebody who is being heard nationally all the time. It's just a different animal. You have to find more of that work yourself. A lot of that isn't going to show up with agents. Most of it's going to show up with pay-to-play sites or by your own efforts. But still, voiceover work. And if you love it, great. One of the things I love is that there's so many genres now. Why am I burping? Audiobooks. I've done 3, hope to never do a 4th. As you've heard me say before, it's just not my thing. I don't like the long form, hour after hour after hour after hour in the studio. My buddy Scott Brick loves it, and he kills it, and he's very good at it. And if that's you, more power to you. Let's see. Hey, Eric, what's up? I'm still out there auditioning and working without an agent. Wow. Go ahead, Julie. Good for you. Gabriel Kunda, I'm inspired by some of the talent that's coming along, and that's a young man. I know. You're blushing now, Gabriel. That is so talented. And just getting his career started, and he's just going to do great. And someone I was working with as a student today, hey, Kiever, how are you? And come on, what are the questions? Sheldon Romero, when should a talent change agencies? I have a buddy that changes every 2 years, no matter what. He just wants to move it around. Very confident. He works all the time. Most people aren't going to do that. I think you should change agencies if it feels a little uncomfortable, if they're not sending you or listening, they're not listening to you and the kinds of work you want to do if you're not getting those auditions, or they've just stopped sending you auditions and don't really respond. You know how you talk to somebody. You can tell if they're really interested in you or if they're just kind of interested, but not, they're not interested. They're just kind of blowing, oh, yeah, sure, oh, I'm doing this. And yeah, no, keep talking. I'm listening. That would be the time to go. That would be the time to start looking for a new agent. And one of the reasons beyond I'm not booking with this agent, maybe they're sending you the wrong stuff. They don't really get you. You want to get with another agent that maybe gets you, and you want that honeymoon period. And in the honeymoon period with an agent, that first few months when you sign up, they're going to send you a lot of copy, a lot of things that you're not right for, but a lot of things that maybe you weren't getting before, and that now they're just going to see who you are and what you can do. So if you're getting that feeling that your agent isn't interested in you anymore, which may lead to you being dropped by that agent, it's probably a good time to start looking for another agent. And a word to the wise, don't badmouth your agent now. Just because that agent isn't really working for you doesn't mean they're a bad person. I guarantee they're working for somebody else very well. Sometimes it's just a personality thing. Somebody else in that agency does the thing that you do. But they've been there longer. They know them better. They're getting more of the copy. They've got enough people on their roster that they've kind of forgotten that you're there. You want to get with an agent that champions you, that really believes in you. So if you don't feel like your agent is believing in you, time to move on. All right. What's your take on convention appearances? That can be read in a couple of, what's my take? Like, what do I think about them? They're fun, and it's a great experience meeting people who really love your work, and you find out that I thought I was just having fun playing all these characters, and realize that, wow, some of these characters I've played in a game or a cartoon have touched somebody's life and mean something to somebody. It's a little humbling, and but you like it. You like it. Oh, more questions. Come on. Okay, here we go. When reaching out to an agent, would you recommend online, on their website, by email, with a referral, or old school snail mail? Forget old school snail mail. What are you going to send? A letter? A CD? No. The world lives on the internet now. I would email. I would send a link to my website. I would also include the demos there attached as well. You want to make it as easy as you can for people to listen to you, to understand who you are. And you want to tell a little bit of your story. How long have you been doing this? What kinds of clients do you have? Let them know that you'd like, would you listen to my demos? Hopefully you will take me on, but if not, can you give me any advice on how to make my demos better? What do I need to do to improve? It's always better if you have somebody who is willing to speak up for you and take it in, but it's not always necessary. If another agent or a casting director or client who's done some work with that agency co-signs for you, well, maybe you get a chance to listen. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to take you on. I have from time to time recommended somebody. Sometimes that person has been signed. Sometimes that person has not been signed. I don't have the magic wand to just bing, and now you have an agent. To do that, I suggest doing your homework on who the agents are and what they cover, because not every agency covers the same things in the same way other agencies do. You may be with an agency that doesn't do a lot of video games or animation. You may be with an agency that they do a lot of that, but they don't do narration or TV promos, or they don't have a strong department there. Find out what it is the agents in town specialize in. Fortunately, I'm with CESD in town, and they have very strong inroads into just about all areas. So I'm very happy there. And I never feel like I am looked over. I feel very taken care of there. So I'm a happy camper with my agency, and that's a good thing to have. All right. At what point in your career should you join the union? As soon as you can, as soon as you are doing union-sanctioned work. You don't want to turn that work down. Everybody has a point in their career that they have to make that decision. Now, one of the things people do, you can join the union and you can go FICOR. It's controversial if you do it. I'm not sure it's something you should brag to people about. You're going to have some of us will be very upset with you, and some of us will go, yeah, we understand. I remember starting my career, I wasn't in the union yet, and doing TV promos at TV 20 in Northern California for $25 an hour. And I know some people who do promos. You can get up off the floor now. I know. It was nothing. It really was nothing. But I was getting experience. I was being heard. And that's just where I was at the time. As soon as I could join the union, I did. And that was once I got an agent and union work was coming my way, and I booked something, and now you got a Taft-Hartley. And the Taft-Hartley thing is you can do a job that's a union job, and you've got 30 days to do as many union jobs as you can. But after that 30 days, the next union job, you've got to join the union. So I would say, Gabriel, that you're getting to that point where you really should consider joining, digging in your pocket and joining the union. Let's see. What are your thoughts on anime shows and JRPG video games in English dub, Dave? Well, I talked a little bit about anime before, and there's a lot of that's being dubbed. And there are video games. There are video games from Japan and other places that are being dubbed into English, and it can be decent work. But once again, once you translate and you've got to match lip flap, you become a little bit more of a technician than just the artist. The artistry still has to be there, but you really are worrying about time and what your mouth is doing compared to what the mouth of the character is doing. And there's the other thing. I'm working on no union because I haven't gotten union work. I want to be a union and represented. I'm ready to quit the day job, for heaven's sakes. Yeah, that's a tough one. My day job had been radio, and when I came down here, I got back on radio for a minute while I was waiting on my voiceover career to really take off. Well, it took off pretty quickly. I was very fortunate. So after a couple years on radio, I was doing part-time on KACE, and then there was a station, a jazz station, Jazz FM. I was a morning guy on Jazz FM for about a year and a half before I said, you know what? I don't need radio anymore. I don't need your stinking radio station. I'm going to go do voiceover, man. And it's been voiceover since then. Alan Adelberg, what's up, man? Another great talent. Randy Morrison, my friend, and creator of Connection Open. And they're still working on it, still changing some stuff. I was busy and couldn't get back to him to do some tests. But when this comes out, when it's ready, oh, my God, you're going to love it. What have you been at? Let's see. What if you've been at some of the alphabet agencies, booked well, but stepped away for a while? What suggestions do you have for getting back in? New demo, asking for a friend. If you still have a relationship with people, just give them a call, drop them an email, let them know you've been doing this, that, and the other. If you got maybe your fresh demo that you're doing, let them know what you've been doing. I like to think that any of the agents I've been with, I could go back to. So I'm not a guy that likes to burn bridges. And Randy, I don't think you probably are either. So I would just give them a call, send an email, just human being to human being. Speaking of which, how many times have you tried to, get with an agency or get a job someplace, and you forget that the people you're talking to are real human beings? They're people who have likes and dislikes, who aren't always sure about everything all the time, who have to put their pants on one leg at a time, whose stuff stinks like yours does. I think too often we put people on a pedestal that we don't need to put them on. That doesn't mean disrespect people, but don't think you can't walk up to somebody and say, "Hi, how are you? I'm so-and-so, and I'm a voice actor, and I heard about your agency. I'm meeting you here at this place, and I just, can I give you my card? Can I give you a call sometime?" People are open. People are open and receptive when you step up and you are polite, kind, know a little bit about them and what they do. Compliments go a long way. People like to be flattered. People like to know that you think they're important. Do your homework. Don't just, you say, "Oh, I do voiceover," and somebody introduces you to an agent, and you've heard the agency name before, but you have no idea. You want to get an agent? Start investigating agency. Who does what? How long have they been there? What are they famous for? What do people say about them? Find out those things. That person that, I know what kind of whiskey he likes. I know what kind of flowers she likes. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but do that kind of homework. Know who they are. Know the people you're talking to. And Thomas, Randy, getting some updated firewalls. Okay, where'd you go? Port sheet. Okay. Jeffrey, if you submitted to an agent and they ultimately weren't interested, how long should you wait before submitting again? I wouldn't submit again right away. What I would do was keep them in a conversation now. They got back to you and they said, "Well, we have somebody just like you," or "We don't think you're quite ready," whatever it is. Send them back a letter. Thank them for taking the time to listen to your demo and offering whatever critique they offered, if they offered one. And then from time to time, maybe it's every month, maybe it's every couple of months. Time flies, so you'll be surprised how fast a couple of months goes by. Drop them a note when you've booked something that you think they might be interested in. Drop them a note from time to time to let them know you're still thinking about them and you would still like to be represented by them. You never know when your timing is going to be right. If you sign with another agent, drop them a note and say, "Oh, I'd love that you considered me. It didn't work out, but I want you to know I've signed with such and such an agency, and thank you for the critique when I was." And you're not doing that in a you didn't sign me, but they did. That's not it at all. You're maintaining your relationship. You're a professional. Simple as that. Thompson Howe. Boy, I'm getting some good people in here. Let's see. Gary Scales. I just wanted to say thank you, Dave. I'm so glad I took your class when I did, and I booked my first major video game character last month. Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Gary Scales. Your instructions, coaching, encouragement, and tips helped me tremendously. Thank you. You're welcome. And I don't say this to brag. I really can help you. Um, and it could be TV promos, it could be narration, it could be commercials, uh, definitely video games. And I chose video games to specialize in because I've done a lot of them, won some awards. And at the time I started, nobody was doing that. And I've been doing it long enough now. Whatever you do long enough and you're paying attention, you get better at. And I'm a really good teacher. I know. Pat myself on the back. So I'm very proud when I hear from somebody like Gary that worked with me and it's working for them. And I'm also proud to say I hear that all the time. It's why I am able to go to the Euro retreat and go to London and travel around the country and teach and have people take privates with me and workshops and whatnot. And I think one of the things that works is that I am still a working voice actor. I'm not saying you have to be a voice actor to be a good teacher, because there are people who have been agents and producers that do a wonderful job and have a perspective that a person as a voice actor might not have. But I can help you. I can help you. If you're interested, and go to my website, davefennoy.com, study VO tab, click on, we can work it out. All right. By the way, thank you so much. It's my mom's birthday today. She's 98 years old. And I posted a picture of she and I when I was there in June this year. Yes, that picture is of she was then 97, now 98-year-old mom. I know, because she's looking good, isn't she? I've got good genes. Thanks so many of you for passing on birthday wishes to her. My sister and brother-in-law and some cousins and whatnot are with her now in East Texas. And I sent the link to that Facebook greeting for her, birthday greeting for her. So she's had a chance to look at that and, know a lot of people that she doesn't know, wishing her well. So I appreciate you for doing that. Thank you. I consider it a great favor. All right. I was requested to voice a political spot for a certain president that I do not agree with. What do you do in those instances? We all have a line we won't cross. I was asked to be the black voice of the George Bush daddy, not George W. That's how long I've been in the business, girl, dig it. George Bush the first, his campaign. And it would have been a nice little chunk of change, but I just could not bring myself to do it. Of course, now with the guy we have in the White House now, I would welcome even W back. That's something you have to make up your mind about. How important is it to you? Keep in mind that when we're voice actors and we're in the business of getting people to buy products that perhaps we don't use or wouldn't buy, food we wouldn't eat, asking them, telling them they should watch television shows that you wouldn't watch or movies that you wouldn't go to, that is our job. It's not about telling them, oh, I do this, so you do this. We help the economy along by bringing a voice to products and television shows that hopefully relate to the demographic group they are trying to get to purchase or watch. That's what we do. So there's some things, some lines you may not want to cross, and I think politically we get there faster than just about anything else. I can't tell you what to do. It's your comfort level. All right. Oh, thanks, Jabari. Happy birthday to my mom. Let's see. Did I miss it? Okay. Mark. Evening, Dave Fennoy. Tell me, did buy a copy of my Banshees book? Come by. Wait a minute. You were doing business here. Heck, if you run a voiceover class, feel free to buy as many as you like for students for their voiceover sessions. Okay, I'll check it out. I'm not sure what that is. My Banshees book. Okay. Did I miss any questions up here? Come on. Somebody else has got another question. Something else you want to bring up? Something that's baffling you? Question? Hi, from Andrew. Hi, Dave. Does your political stand have issues in your contracts? What? I'm not sure I understand that. Does your political stand have issues in your contracts? I'm not sure what you're asking me. I'm going to go out on a limb. Does it affect my work? Maybe. But I work every day, so it isn't stopping this show. Do I recommend it for everybody? No. You have to do what you're comfortable with, and especially you're just getting started. It's not I talk about things. You don't necessarily have to. I encourage you definitely to vote, be involved, but you don't have to share your opinions on Facebook like I do. It may not be for everybody. This is not a one-size-fits-all world. Come on now. Somebody else has got some other questions. Did I miss something up here? Okay. Okay, here we go. What is the best way to market a voiceover website to reach casting agents? One, do your homework, find the casting agents first, and then send emails to them to drive them to your site. Now, one of the things, how do you get them to want to come to your site? Well, if you're, and I'll just bring it up again, say you're doing video games. You don't want to send casting agents for TV promos your information about video games. They don't care. You got to match that up. So if you're doing TV promos, Kiever, you might want to send the link to your site along with your demo to broadcast producers for TV stations and cable outfits. That would be the thing to do. But you would have to do your homework. If you have an agent, they're going to do some of that for you, but don't leave it all up to them. You want to do some of that homework as well. Okay. Can your socio-political opinions polarize some clients against you? Do they check that deep? I'm sure some check that deep. If you're going to be the spokesvoice for a company, they may care that you lean to the left or lean to the right or have dreads or whatever. They may care. They may not. I can imagine that sometimes it would be an issue. I had a student call me up and he says, "Wow, I have loved your webinars and I've learned a lot. I'd like to take private lessons with you, but I voted for Trump and I like him. I'm not sure we could work together." I said, "Well, look, we just don't have to talk about it." But for him, that was a bridge too far. Okay, I can't do anything about that. But I'm not going to worry about it. Steve Tom, casting directors, ARG. I love Steve Tom. Steve Tom, you've seen him in a number of movies, and he is the, what's the insurance company you do, Steve? The white-haired gentleman that's very serious. He kills it. He kills it. You'll know him when you see him. Andrew, easy way. I'm auditioning for political dudes that I'm not interested and not. I'm auditioning for a political dudes that I'm not interested and not connected with me. Do I get that job? Well, part of what we do is bring a belief, or at least the simulation of belief, about products. And that product could be a politician. And, maybe you're a Democrat, but you're not going to like every Democrat. If you're a Republican, you're not going to like every Republican. But you have to bring a certain belief, a feeling to your spot that says you believe in that product, in this case, politician. One of the things we learn to do is substitution. Maybe you don't eat at McDonald's, but you will take McDonald's money, I'm sure. So when you start talking about their burgers and their fries, think of something else, substitute in your mind something else that you love. Otherwise, if you've got that inner dialogue going on, and oh man, I don't eat this stuff is just trash. This is killing America, and it's got so much fat, and I'm a vegan, and I don't. If you've got all that stuff going on, it's going to come out in your read. You have to address it, give yourself permission to sell this product that is not really okay with you. And once again, maybe that's a bridge too far for you. I would really kind of question if you should be in this business if just because you're a vegetarian, you don't want to sell places that sell meat. I can understand you're like, I don't want to do it, but nobody's going to make you eat it. Let's see. Coming back to Texas for a workshop. I'll be back probably next summer. Geico, thank you. My friend Steve Tom is the Geico guy. The white-haired guy that just kills it. Love those spots, Steve. Love those spots. Thanks for doing this. Always great to hear from a pro. You're welcome, Bart. Evan Richards, what are ways for non-union to become union members in voiceover? Well, start knocking on the doors and book a union job. If you have an agent, and a lot of agents now will sign people who are not in the union. That hasn't always been the case. We'll sign some people and you book a union job. You've got 30 days to do as many union jobs as you can before you book another one and have to be in the union. So that would be the way to do it. And anything else? I don't think so. Oh, John Lawrence, how do you know a good agent from a crappy agent? Wow. A good agent probably has been around for a long time. Not necessarily. I remember when Atlas came to town. They were a good agency in New York, and they came to town, opened up a shop, and they killed it. DPN is a fairly new agency. Vox is a fairly new agency. Don't so much look at the name as an agency as who the agents are. You want somebody in an agency who has been doing this for a while. You might have some new agents in there, but you want somebody at the top running the show that has a track record, and usually that track record is with another bigger agency. This is also one of the reasons that you want to be a part of the voiceover community. You want to have more than just, I got to wait for Wednesday at 6 p.m. to get my question answered by Dave Fennoy. Happy to do it. That's why I'm here. But become a part of the voiceover community. Join the Facebook groups. Go to some of the meetup groups. There is so much information that is shared, especially in the voiceover community. Maybe not so much in the on-camera community, but for some reason, voiceover people tend to be more giving and less egos. Steve, I've listened to the guy, folks. He's the best. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Also, you can go straight to the horse's mouth. SAG-AFTRA. Call them up. Hi, I'm an actor in L.A. I'm not in the union right now, and I'd like to join. What should I do? They will be happy to answer that question for you. Once again, don't be afraid to approach people. They're just like you, pants on one leg at a time. Their poop smells as bad, if not worse than yours does. Occasionally they have bad breath. They're not always sure of themselves all the time. Approach people. Talk to them. find out a little bit about them. We are creatures who, we like to be stroked. We like to be recognized. That is one of human beings' greatest needs, is to be seen. So when you can show somebody that you see them, you don't want to kiss ass, but you want to show respect just like you want respect. Thank you, Hamidi. Agreed. You know what? If there's not another question, I think I'll just call it. I invite you again, if you'd like to do private lessons of some kind, visit my website, davefennoy.com. You can hit the Study VO tab and sign yourself up for one or more. Also, if you're somebody who's out of town and you'd like, he's never come to my town to do a workshop, and you're part of a voiceover group in that particular city, hit me up. I'd love to work out a way to bring a workshop to you. And good to see you, John Lawrence. Oh, wait, one more here, Thomas. When contacting a casting agent for video games, should you take them to a page of just video game demos or to a page that shows all your demos? I'm going to give you a second and let you think about that. What do you think they're interested in? Video games. Thomas, send them to your video game page. Do not send them to your animation page. They're two different animals. There's some crossover. Do not send them to a narration page or a commercial page or TV promo page or an e-learning page. Send them to your video game page. That is all they are going to care about. We live once again, in a society where our attention spans are very short and very narrow. The people doing video games, that's what they're concerned with. So don't clutter their minds and time with other stuff. Send them to your video game links. Okay. How about to travel to South America, Dave? I would love to. That's on my list. Australia down under's on my list. Happy to go. I was invited to go to Saudi Arabia at the end of this month, but just can't do it because of, time and whatnot. But also I'm a little nervous about Saudi Arabia. I've been to the Middle East a few times and have a great time. I don't know. Saudi Arabia? I don't know. They might fly me into a building. Who knows? Is there a minute amount in attendance you have come for a workshop? Yeah. When I have a workshop, 16 is about the max. Probably the sweet spot is about 12. If for some reason it's not full and you're looking at 8 to 10 people, everybody's get a little more time to read. But one of the things about classes as opposed to private lessons, and both are good, don't get me wrong. When you're in a class, the pressure isn't always on you. You get an opportunity to learn from the successes and challenges of other students and hear the instruction they're getting in a way when you're not up at the microphone and everybody's looking at you and I've got the words in front of me and what did he say? And I want to, because we all want to impress. You can't help it. You step to that microphone, you came to learn, but still inside as an actor, you want to knock it out of the park. And of course, you're not going to knock it out of the park. And be careful of what your intention is. If your intention is to impress the teacher, that's the wrong intention. Your intention is to, if we're doing video game, play the character, be the character, let the character speak through you. It's not to sound good. It should never be to sound good. It should be to connect here and here with your listener. Okay? Be careful of what your intention is. So in a class, you get a chance to sit back and learn from, like I say, other people's successes and failures. Why is that working with this person, and why wasn't that read working? And I can bring that now to my read. So I believe in classes, especially when you're starting out. A lot of times you have no idea where you fit on the voiceover talent spectrum. You may have the most wonderful voice in the world and not a lick of acting ability. And if you're that guy that listens to his voice, hello, how are you? I'm Dave Fennoy, and I'm listening to my voice, and everybody tells me what a wonderful voice I have. So when I do voiceover, I speak like this. And don't you think they'll love me? No, they're not going to love you because you're not talking to anybody. Anyway, John F. Carroll, do you market yourself directly to gaming production companies still, or are you well enough known at this point that you don't need to market directly? There are people who know me. There are people who don't. There are always new companies coming along. There are people who are in taking video game production in school or just joined a company and may not know who I am. I can't just assume that people know Dave Fennoy. Oh, yeah, he's been in a lot of games. Oh, yeah, he's won some awards. I can't assume that. So I often will, do the LinkedIn thing, find the video game developers, casting people, writers, and send them a little note and just let them know. One of the things that happens to me, because I've been doing this a long time and there have been a bunch of games, I have people who feel like they are going to insult me by asking me to be a part of their project because, well, we don't have that much money, and, well, let's talk about it. One of the things that's happening in video games now is not only might you be the voice that's being paid scale, but you might be the voice that is part of the production team. Just like actors write themselves in, if you want to get them, their agent, they become producers of some kind. That is happening in video games now. There are a lot of small indie companies out there that don't have the cash and capital to pay you money, but they might partner with you, sign a contract, get a piece of the action, get 2-3% of the profits of that game. If the game goes, wow, you've made a good chunk of money. If the game doesn't go, well, you did what they did. You gambled on a project that didn't work. Let's see. What are the steps to doing work in anime voiceover for Japanese animation? One, I'd start with taking some anime classes, and I would get my anime demo done. And then I would start knocking on the doors of anime producers. Awesome, thanks. You're welcome, John. Jake Vetch, think it helps to have any experience making music? Actually, I do. It's not necessary, but if you're musical, you may have a sense of rhythm that maybe somebody who isn't particularly musical has. I know because I've always felt that my playing music helped in my voiceover career. I also liken a lot of the things I do in teaching to playing music. Our voice is our instrument. And just because you can talk doesn't mean you have full and total control over your voice. Different people have different skills. There are people who, with their voice, they can imitate any other voice. There are people who, in their voice, can change up the rhythms, become something else, change up all those kinds of things that bring more variety to what we can do. It's one of the reasons I can play a lot of different parts is because I can give a different rhythm, different feel, as well as different accents and whatnot. And when you're doing different accents, there's a different music to different accents from different places. And that's the rhythm of how those people speak. That's where their intonations end up and down. All those things make a difference. And if you don't have an ear that can pick that up and imitate that, it's going to be tougher for you. So, yeah, having a musical background helps. I think that's it. Once again, 6:54, almost made it to 7 o'clock. I'm Dave Fennoy. This is Ask Dave Fennoy Anything, and I really appreciate that you join me on Wednesdays and ask these questions. I enjoy it, and I hope I'm doing a service. And I invite you to, again, stop by davefennoy.com, click on Study VO, and I'm going to work out a thing where you can leave me your email, and you'll start getting some free stuff. But thanks again, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.